Let's talk to Ross Clark because, this is the generation, Ross, a very good morning to you, who was supposed to
Good morning,
care
mate.
about the climate.
Yeah, and I mean, 2 years ago, if you remember, Greta Thunberg turned up at Glastonbury and was cheered to the rafters,
Mm,
um, lecturing the world on climate change. The festival claims that it's the sort of greenest ever. It's got all these green heating systems
yes.
and, water systems and so on. And yet, you look at the detritus that's left over by the festival goers, and you
Mm,
think, what a bunch of hypocrites.
yeah.
I go camping, I go wild camping often, and I would be absolutely mortified if I accidentally left behind a single tent peg.
Right.
There's a code for people who go
Of course.
wild camping, leave no trace, and yet, these people, lefty greenies at Glastonbury, they've got all the facilities there to dispose of their
Mm,
waste properly, and they don't do it. And it's not just sort of cardboard, containers and so on. It's sort
right.
of things like laughing gas canisters that are
Yes.
really bad stuff for the environment.
Yeah, of course, absolutely right. And I was watching the Coldplay show on Saturday night, and of course, famously, Chris Martin, the singer and the founder of the band, is all about reducing his carbon footprint. And he issued a statement, I think, like about a month or so ago, because we've got him on Plank of the Week, saying that they've managed to reduce their carbon footprint for their world tour by 50%. And to which I thought, well, you could reduce it by 100% if you didn't do the tour. So why don't you just not bother?
Well, you could, couldn't you? I mean, they're just full of rubbish, these people. I mean, they've got far, you look at all these music stars and general celebrities who want to lecture us on the climate. They're all flying around the world
Mm,
on private jets or, first class scheduled services
yeah.
and so on, and they're hunking all these sound systems around the country on lorries and everything. They go, yeah. I mean, I just hate hypocrisy, and I
Yes.
think the whole country does. Most people
I
hate
think we
hypocrisy when
really
they
do.
can see it.
And you can't look at any of the shows that they do at Glastonbury and even pretend that it's in some way environmentally sound, because it can't possibly be. I don't care how many people they've got pedaling on bicycles to produce the electricity to power Coldplay's light show, but I'm pretty sure they're using basic energy and they're using generators and they're using electricity that's being pumped in from somewhere. So there's no way that it's green.
No, well, I mean, we're told that sort of working from home is helping the environment, is cutting down journeys. Well, why don't the Glastonbury festival goers, if they really care about the
Yes.
environment, they could stay at home and put on a CD or listen
Mm,
to the music being streamed
right.
rather than
Of course.
going and fouling this part
Uh,
of
and all of that
Somerset.
rubbish that we're watching them picking up, presumably all ends up in a landfill somewhere, doesn't it?
I don't know. They claim to have a recycling operation, but I say when you get things like laughing gas canisters, they can't be
No.
recycled. Of course, they're going to end up in a landfill. And I call it absolutely hell for the people who live around that area who just want a sort of quiet rural existence, and they turn, this every year this sort of traveling city of music fans turns up and parks on their lawn for
Right.
a few days. I'm pleased I don't have. I'm pleased I don't live in Glastonbury.
It must be awful, mustn't it? It must be really dreadful to have that sort of, avalanche of people sort of descending upon you. Because it is massive. I mean, it's something like 250,000 people, isn't it? For 4 days.
Yeah, I mean that's a city the size of sort of Leicester
Yeah,
or
I think it
Nottingham or
becomes something
something,
like
and it's sort of.
Britain's, 15th largest city or something for the 4 days that the event is on for.
Yes, no, exactly. And you think, well, okay, if people want to have fun, but don't lecture us on the climate and green environmental issues at the same time, because it is utterly ridiculous.
Yes, absolutely. There's a kind of leaving of the senses that takes place, doesn't it? I mean, I saw a tweet actually that came out of "Have I got news for you?" which is the funniest thing they've said for a while, which is basically that 15% of all the idiots in London, or words to that effect, leave London on Glastonbury weekend. So London's actually a slightly more idiot-free zone than it normally would be.
Yes, yes, exactly. I imagine that Islington was a very pleasant place at the weekend.
Yeah, as was Clam, or Clapham, as it's become
I
known.
should have
Good to talk to you, Ross. Thanks very much indeed. Ross Clark, writer with The Spectator and The Telegraph.